Hello everybody and welcome back to Bring Your Own Popcorn. So, recently I watched all the Jurassic Park / Jurassic World films for the first time. And build up to the release of Jurassic World Dominion, which I saw last night. Actually, I tell a lie, I had seen the first Jurassic Park film. I loved that movie. But I rewatched that, and then I watched the two Jurassic Park sequels, which I had never seen, and then the two Jurassic World films, which I had never seen. I caught bits of the first Jurassic World on TV, but I had never seen it from start to finish before. I saw Jurassic World Dominion last night in cinemas, and I thought instead of just doing a review for Jurassic World Dominion, I would rank all 6 Jurassic Park films from worst to best. So, hope you guys enjoy the video, and here we go. So, for me, coming in at last place is The Lost World Jurassic Park, or Jurassic Park II, as it probably should have been called, or Jurassic Park The Lost World. I don't know why they put The Lost World first in the title, it's a bit strange. Anyway, The Lost World Jurassic Park comes in last place for me, which I think is actually a bit of a controversial opinion. I actually think there are a good number of fans of this film out there. I didn't mind it. It was all right. I'll tell you, one of the worst things about it for me was the character development in it. I mean, a lot of people would say as a criticism that the sequel is very much same thing happens on a different island. But I won't use that as a criticism, because a lot of sequels that I love, like Karate Kid Part 2 being the main one that I can think of, is literally same thing happens, different place. However, I love when sequels focus on character development, and just flesh out these characters just better. And Karate Kid 2, I think, does that, whereas this film doesn't. All the characters from the first one are gone, except for one, Dr. Malcolm, played by Jeff Goldblum, who gives a great performance in this, I have to say. Whoever decided to make him the star of this movie, I do think the other cast members from the first one should have been in this, but whoever decided to make Jeff Goldblum the star of this film deserves a medal. His charisma is just brilliant. He's a fantastic character. But we're introduced to all these new characters. Julianne Moore plays a character. Vince Vaughn plays a character, and they're just not written very well. I mean, they're brilliant actors and they give great performances. They're just not written particularly well. And there's like no character development given to them. And the only characters I actually cared for were Jeff Goldblum and his kid in this movie. They were the only two that I actually cared for. So that's one of my biggest criticisms of this film. I will also say the first half of the movie is pretty boring, with not a lot of action happening. However, there's a really cool action set piece that happens bang smack in the middle of the film, and everything onwards from that is pretty fun stuff. And the ending with the dinosaur just rampaging through a city is pretty cool. All that stuff's pretty fun. It's just not got the best writing to it. Spielberg's direction is, I would say, a step down from the first film, but still solid. The CGI looked great in it, and the score in every Jurassic Park film's great, but the score here was pretty great. I really love the score. Out of 10, I would give The Lost World Jurassic Park a 6 out of 10. Coming in next at 5th place is Jurassic Park III. Yes, I know it's quite controversial to put this above Jurassic Park 2, but here we are. I'm a controversial person with this list, as you will soon see. I just had more fun with this one. The story was actually a really big improvement from it. It's still dinosaurs chasing people on an island, which basically all the Jurassic Park films are. But this one added in the plot line of there's a family looking for their son who's went missing on this island. which I thought was a really nice plotline. Sam Neill is back as Dr. Grant. Laura Dern is back as Dr. Sadler. I would have liked to seen a little bit more of her. She's hardly in the film, which is quite upsetting. But I would have liked to have seen more of her. And the characters are just far more likeable in this film for me than Jurassic Park 2. All the supporting cast you care about, they give good performances. I will also say the action in this film is pretty fun, especially the pterodactyl kind of sequence in the movie. Yeah, I just had so much more fun with this film, I would say, than The Lost World. I will say the direction is a bad point. I would say it's not terrible direction, but compared to Steven Spielberg, who done the first two films, this director has nothing on him. The CGI is pretty bad in some places, and some of the dinosaurs, the design of them aren't great. They look pretty fake. But yeah, I can overlook that because the film at the end of the day was just cheesy B-movie action, which I can get behind any day of the week. I would give Jurassic Park 3 a 7 out of 10. Coming in at 4th place is Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom, the second Jurassic World film. Yeah, it was a lot of fun. I will say the action is absolutely brilliant in this movie, especially the first act with the volcano eruption. Wow, absolutely brilliant. The second act drags a little bit, when they're on kind of a boat, and then the third act's really fun as well. The direction is really top notch here. Some of the best dinosaur CGI you will ever see, especially on that volcano eruption. The story isn't as fresh as Jurassic World, the first one, was. The first Jurassic World, as we will get to in a little bit, it felt very fresh and very new, and very modernised, I guess you could say. This one feels like it took a step back a little bit. It just felt like people running away from dinosaurs again, which I say every single film in this franchise feels like that. But this one feels a bit more story-wise towards The Lost World. Reasons why I didn't like that, where it just it was the same story again, basically. What else can I say? The acting is really good. Chris Pratt, Bryce Dallas Howard have great chemistry in this film. I actually really like the supporting cast. You care about them a lot. Yeah, I will say the film felt very filler. It was almost like Colin Trevorrow, the writer and director of these films, signed a 3-movie deal, but only had ideas for 2 films in his head, and he was like, right, we quickly need to write a Jurassic World movie. What can we put into it? Basically, he knew how he was starting this film, and he knew how he was ending it, and the ending is pretty awesome of this in this movie. But he didn't know what he was doing in the middle, and he just kind of made it up as he went along, I think. Well, it feels like that anyway. But yeah, it's still a really fun movie. At this point in the franchise, all I want to see is dinosaurs being dinosaurs, chasing people down, and just cheesy, bombastic action, and this film delivered, especially with that first act. I would give Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom a 7 out of 10. Coming in next is Jurassic World. I actually really enjoyed this film. It was pretty crazy how fresh this movie felt to me. For a Jurassic Park film, where basically everything, every single one of the films is people running away from dinosaurs in an island in a park, which this film is, but it feels fresh. They update technology, they introduce new dinosaurs. It just feels like a really good modernised take on the first Jurassic Park film, which I really loved. The action is brilliant. Just give me Chris Pratt riding a motorbike next to velociraptors any day, and I'll be happy. I will say the characters aren't great in this. I actually preferred Chris Pratt and Bryce Dallas Howard characters in the sequel. But yeah, it's a fun film at the end of the day. I like the two kids in it. They were fun. Yeah, at the end of the day, it's cheesy B-movie action, which I love. I would give Jurassic World a 7.5 out of 10. Also, the direction's really good. The direction's brilliant in this film. I love the feel of the movie, especially when you see Jurassic World. It genuinely feels like a theme park, a lot more than the first Jurassic Park even did, I think. You really feel like you're there, almost, which I really loved. So yeah, a 7.5 for Jurassic World. Coming in at runner-up is Jurassic World Dominion. Yes, I know, controversial. For this review, I'm actually just going to read my Letterboxd review, whilst you see a video from the film, like clips from the film, because I really think that I summed it up perfectly. Like, my thoughts summed up perfectly in my Letterboxd review. So yeah, controversial opinion of the day. This is the best one since the original. Yes, there, I said it. The way the critics and some audience members are talking about this film, you'd think it had murdered their firstborn. It wasn't a perfect film by any means, and I have a good few criticisms of it, but I got out of it what I want out of these films at this point. Fun. Just brainless, brilliant, thrilling action fun. The story did have its ups and downs, like most of the Jurassic films. People are treating this film like it's the first one to not have an original story. Excuse me, have you seen any Jurassic film after the first one? They all pretty much have the same story. Dinosaurs hunt down humans on an island. I actually think out of all of them, this is the most original since that original film. This film, due to the setup of the previous film, has the privilege of having dinosaurs, not just on an island, but physically walking amongst humans. That's probably the most original these films have been in a while. There are also some really cool plot points that help do some brilliant world building, including a dinosaur black market, among others. The first act, admittedly, isn't great. It's pretty slow with a lot of setup happening. For the first 45 minutes-ish, not a lot happens. No action, which for an action film isn't great. However, the second and third act has some of the best action of the franchise. Just awesome, tense, blockbuster-like action. There were some plot points I thought were a bit pointless and dumb. For example, the whole locust plotline was just unnecessary. The writers have created a world in which humans and dinosaurs coexist, yet chose the first act to set up this whole subplot with locusts instead of focusing on the actual dinosaurs. Bit silly. There was also a cloning subplot that I wasn't a big fan of either, but neither of these took away from the film that much for me. The action was sublime in my opinion. So much fun. Just awesome action set piece after awesome action set piece. The acting was also great, by all. Admittedly, the villain wasn't good. He wasn't particularly written well, and because he was hardly in the film, and his last scene was pretty cool, I can easily overlook this. Chris Pratt and Bryce Dallas Howard were fab, and the OG cast of Sam Neill, Laura Dern, and the wonderful Jeff Goldblum were amazing too. I love the route they went with the characters. There was also the wonderful addition of DeWanda Wise as Kayla. Although some of the dialogue given to these characters isn't amazing, the sheer charisma of each actor allows them to pull it off. The humour, also written in, worked pretty well. Once again, down to the actors, I believe. Their charisma and the way they bounce off each other really makes the humour a lot better than it probably has any right to be. Another thing the film does extremely well from a writing point of view was the way in which all these characters end up together. I was nervous that having the OG and the new characters just run into each other would feel extremely forced, but the way in which they go about it here is pretty smart. It's not forced and happened really naturally within the plot, which I liked. Look, at the end of the day, I might just be a sucker for nostalgia. Give me OG characters and play that OG Jurassic theme and you've got me hooked, which this film done. It was genuinely fantastic seeing the original characters back in this one and giving them a proper send-off. There were some really nice callbacks to the first film that just put a big fat smile on my face. And that score, wow, mixes the classic music with the new music so well. Brilliant. The CGI was also absolutely incredible too. The dinosaurs just keep getting more and more realistic, and there were a couple practical effects in here too. And as you know, I'm a sucker for a practical effect. The film also does a great job of wrapping up the franchise. This probably won't be the last one, but it does feel pretty final and satisfying. The film was also a bit long. I feel like a good 20-minute chunk could have been cut and wouldn't have been missed. Overall, Jurassic World Dominion still doesn't reach the sheer brilliance of the original Jurassic Park, but comes the closest, with fantastic action and characters. I said before going into this film that if they just go all out and make it bombastic and embrace the silly, then I'll be happy, and I believe they delivered on that. It's a dinosaur movie, for goodness sake. Chill out, guys. This one has got my recommendation. So that was my letterbox review for Jurassic World Dominion. Pretty controversial, I know, since people are tearing this film apart, but I had so much fun with it. I would give Jurassic World Dominion an 8 out of 10. But coming in at first place, of course, is the original Jurassic Park, one of Steven Spielberg's many masterpieces. This film is just brilliant, one of the best blockbusters ever. First of all, the film was so revolutionary for CGI. The CGI of the dinosaurs looks absolutely incredible here. Genuinely, for 1992, I think it was, it doesn't have the right to look that good, and that is just down to Spielberg's incredible direction. The story is also incredibly original. At that point, we hadn't seen dinosaurs chase down people in a theme park, so it's so much fun. The characters are all incredibly well written, all likeable. As I said, Jeff Goldblum's character and Sam Neill's character being personal favourites. That theme is just phenomenal. It's just a fantastic film. I will say one of my main criticisms is the girl in the movie, the little girl. There's two kids, a boy and a girl. I can't remember their names. But the girl isn't great. She gives an okay performance, but she just screams all the time in the movie, which I get, you'd be screaming at dinosaurs. But she has this high-pitched, awful scream that just goes right through me every time she does it, and it's like literally every 5 minutes in the movie she screams at something, which is pretty annoying. But that doesn't take away from how incredible this film is. Out of 10, I would give the original Jurassic Park a 9 out of 10. Okay, so thank you for watching this video, everyone. Please remember to like, comment and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.